Hello everyone and welcome back. We're going to get all the collectibles since they added some new collectibles in 2018. So for your first two video recordings, this is all part of the story, so as you start the mission or the game, you will get recording Jane Doe Part 1 and Part 2, so you can't really miss it. For your first actual recording, so go down to where the chopper is, can't really miss it, the game will actually tell you what to do. So just an FYI, I'm going to show this once. Make sure as you're doing recording, make sure that round circle goes to the 100% mark, and then you'll gain the recording. If you don't do this, then you won't get the recording. Your next recording will be the crucified person, right next to the fire, just before we leave to the next area. So you can't really miss this one, so make sure you get it along the way. Shortly after the crucifixion, you will slide down the next path and then look directly straight into the distance and just record the town.
Oh, thank God.
So as we go into the town, you should hopefully go past your first house on your left side. So now go inside the first house you see on the right that has the mesh door.
Is anybody there?
You can't really miss it either because you have to literally go right past it if you follow the track. So make sure you go inside and you will find a sleeping person on the table.
Hey, man.
So just pick up the note.
Oh, shit. That's fucked up.
The next recording is follow the story progression and you'll come into a cellar. This is really hard to miss, so you'll hopefully see it before we go past it. Another document is pretty simple to find. After you have got rid of your first enemy, or not got rid, but you ran away from it for the first time, you go into this barn, move this block, and then jump up to find the next document. After a giant white flash, you will find your next document on the path. Just look down next to the dead body to find it. Once again, this one's not too difficult to find. Going inside the chapel for the first time, go through the only door you can on the right and make sure you pick up the diary or the note just before we proceed on further. Shortly after leaving the cell down below, you will climb a ladder and then you'll climb a flight of stairs. Upon entering this new room, you will find the next document on the table. This is just before you leave through the doorway to your right. Quite a ways in, you'll get teleported back into a memory. This will be the first memory of many. So go into the next classroom to find a recording that says Jessica down below. For the next recording, all we have to do is record the guy that has been killed by the green bleeper, so to speak. So let's get out of here. Record his body, or just record what's happening in this area.
Even though she...
Shortly after going through the water, you will then need to proceed to go over the bridge. On the right side, you will definitely notice two burning bodies on the crucifix again. Make sure you record these bodies to gain the journal for the recording. After you made it through the cornfield, so jumping over the fence, upon entering this area, you'll find a guy run up to you asking for mercy. This is actually the same area where that lady was that killed that guy. So look on the porch here, next to the door, you will find your next note. So this is the first building you see after you've done the cornfields. So for the next one, this is after you go through the barn, and then you will need to proceed up into the hole. Right next to your main objective where you got to pull this thing, make sure you grab the note on the table before we do that. Soon after you pull that chain in that warehouse, you get knocked out the window, and this is where you'll be. Now follow the path down to the right, you will find a statue off to your left hand side, so make sure you grab that before we continue any further. After the bright white light again, pull your camera out and just record the scenery.
Heretic Temple.
As you go into cave system, eventually you just run directly into this one, so this one's hard to miss. Make sure you record it, and let's move on. This is yet again one of these another simple ones. As you go through the cave and leave to the outside, you will see another town. Just record the town, and let's move on to the next one. Soon after going back inside, you will hear some commotion. Just look on the table where the two red candles are located, and you will find the document here. In the same house, all we have to do is go to the very top of the building. You will be greeted by a desk and the doorway. We need to go through here anyway, but before that, look left. You'll find your next document here. For the next note, as you enter the new town, go past the house to your right and you will find someone crucified. Go behind that house directly ahead of you, jump the fence, and then you can crawl through the space down here. There is no other way to get him apart from coming through this crawl space, so just make sure we grab the note and then we can leave. Just to save some time, so after you have left that crawl space, you then want to go left and go through the broken fence. Now go around the house to your right. Now go through the broken window you see on the left side. Now go down into the basement, if I remember correctly, if I haven't forgotten. Then there should be a document down here. Head towards the generator room. Right next to that, you will find your next note on the side, so I don't have to show much of this one. Straight after using the elevator, just record the sign directly in front. Well, you're only recording in the next memory zone, so just record Jessica's body hanging before we proceed any further forward. Now for the next area, once you see the pit down below, you will need to shimmy along. This is very close from the last recording. You will find like a stand here before we leave the doorway, so make sure you interact with this document. Alright, so for your next document, after you've done the running away sequence, you will need to go through this window. Can't really miss it because you have to do it. Now as you're inside this home, take the first door on your right. Is it? I think it's the first door. Yeah, first door to your right, and you'll find the note directly on the shelf. Once again, after you've done the next chase scene with the Grim Reaper lady, so run up the hill and you will find a hanging body there. Enter the first house on your right. As you go inside, go for the door to your left. Move the bookshelf. And then you will find your document located inside on the floor. Well, after this wonderful scene, make sure you record the body.
The mines. Where the fuck are the mines?
Alright, so after you left the chapel, then you have to proceed to the water tower you see. Then after you've done that, you will jump out from that and go through the hole in the fence. You will then need to proceed through this house. You can't really miss it anyway. But as you proceed through the house, you will find the woman singing, or yeah, singing to the doll. But in the back rooms, this is where we're going to pick up the next document. For your next document, as you have left and lost your pursuers, you'll be in the next area. This will be the area of Marta. So go towards the light you see directly in front. Go inside the building and you will find your document on the table. When you get to the slaughterhouse, just pick up your camera and record the scene. You have to literally come through this area, so you can't miss it.
Jesus. Should have prayed for refrigeration.
After we have escaped Marta, we'll see the signs to the mines, and then before we go up these steps, we need to grab the document, and then we can then head up the steps.
Wake up.
Can't really miss it. Once we're back in the dream world again, you'll see the hangman drawing directly in front as soon as you drop inside. So you'll be basically looking at it, so hopefully you don't miss it. So after you have finished the dream world, bring your camera out and you will find a red building that you can record, or you can record the bridge. For the next document, before you go over the bridge, take a right. And there you have it. There's the next document.
What in...
So after you have fallen down off the bridge, just follow the stream of water and eventually you should hopefully run directly into this next document. Once again, one of the things you can't really miss it, just keep following the stream of water. Next to the dead body, almost missed it. After you go through a log, you can't really miss it, it's directly behind me. You will go into the light area, and before going left, make sure you record this gate. Shortly after, you will enter the camp with many sick people around. Go past the first house on your left, take a right, and then you will get to your next document. We are now back in the school. After you have interacted with the computer, we now need to leave. So head towards the toilets. There will be a door now to the right hand side. Go inside and get your camera out ready and just record.
The fuck?
As soon after we pick up our camera, we'll be teleported back into the school. So now we're going to go back where we came from. So there's the toilets. Oh, this is the wrong way. So in this room to the left, now open the door, use your camera and start recording. After the next school dream world has ended, leave the closet, look directly on the desk. This is where the next collectible will be. After being buried alive, look to the left as soon as you leave. You have to go back to where you was found, so in this barbed wire. So now after you've gone through the previous area, we have to climb through the fence, or climb under. In this area, to the left, you will notice a document, so make sure you pick it up before you proceed further on. Shortly after, you will need to make a run and jump into this cabin that I'm staying in. Before jumping down, make sure you grab the note beforehand. Welcome back to the school dream. We're now back into the cafeteria area, so you'll see a hangman letter in the middle. Make sure you interact with that and then quickly bring your camera out and focus your camera in the middle where the tree is located on your left. When you get to the lake, you will find a guy walking into the lake itself. After you see that, come to where he was and then just videotape the area. We have now left the lake area, so go through this building right here. I believe it's this one. The door will be unlocked. Go through the window and then proceed up these steps. When you get to the very top, make sure you look left and go onto the Lion King cliff type deal. And then record the towers you see over here. Now these ones, I thought it's someone over there. Distant towers. For your next note, you'll come to another camp with two buildings. So go into the one on your left and you will find the note inside. Shortly after the bright light, make sure you get your camera out ready and record the dead fish that come up. Here we are now in the next part of the raft. You will notice that there's a guy above there. He's going to throw someone in there now. Going to burn him alive and then throw him in there. In this area, if you record the bottom here, you will find loads of dead bodies. This will be the floater diary, or the recording. So the game will make you crash your raft, and this is where you'll be. Just wrap around the left side before going underneath the tree, and then you will find your document just next to the log. This is quite impossible to miss. You have to travel through this area, so make sure you record the scenery. So this is after you shimmy along the edge as well. So now we are back in the dream world again, so in the skull. After you have left the swimming pool area, you need to go into the ladies' locker room, so go into here and then get your camera out ready to record the blood spurting everywhere in the locker room. Shortly after leaving the dream world, you will come outside and you will notice it's raining blood, so make sure you record this and then we can move on. After we have gotten out the rain, we'll go inside. The door will slam shut behind us. In the next room you will find some big massive barrels or crates. Go to the right side and you will find a dead person in the very back containing your next diary. So now, after you have done the computer part in the skull, can't really miss it. Just make sure you record the flashing screens in the skull before they turn off. For the next collectible, when you come back into the real world, you'll then need to proceed through the building as the door behind you will get blocked off by the enemy. Now in this room, it'll be quite dark and it's hard to see in the without the night vision. But go to the right side. Down this corridor here, you will find the next note. After hanging around in the skull, proceed out the door, and then you'll definitely see this one. This one's hard to miss. You'll see a bunch of Jessicas hanging around on the outside courtyard, so make sure you record these before we leave. Once again, after the dream world is done, you need to proceed through the warehouse again. After you go through these two bookshelves, so to speak, you will crawl through this space with a big giant container here, or silo thing. Now go to the left, and then you will see there's two hanging bodies here. Make sure you grab the document. For the next recording, as soon as we drop down the elevator, it will decide to crash down. Just do a 180, make sure you record it before we leave. And now, as you go down the ladder, you can't really miss it. You will find a guy running towards you, then he will vanish. At this point in the area, you will find some tracks on the floor. There are two ways you can go, left or right. Let's go to the right path, and then we can interact or record the people burning up, or they'll just skinned alive. Don't really know how to explain this one, so basically you just follow the train tracks. You will see one of them, the scalded people. Just follow the train tracks. You'll come into a room that's well lit. And just make sure you bring up the camera before we proceed any further forward. So from the last location, just follow the tracks forward. So this is after you have lost your pursuers, so you need to return back anyway. And then you'll hear like a minecart coming your way. All you need to do is just record this baby sacrifice thing. This is actually a new collectible that was added in 2018 somewhere. Shortly after moving the baby from that minecart area, you'll proceed through the crawl space. Follow the trains or the marks on the ground. You will notice that you'll find the demon from the other world talking to you, so make sure you grab the document before we go somewhere else. So as you go down the long series of steps, you eventually will come through to where a doorway is. All we need to do is just go through the door and videotape the thing in the middle. Alright, so this one will take quite some time to get to. So after the Mudmen and the Valve, after she's finished chasing you, you'll get to a point where you'll squeeze through a gap, and then you'll need to proceed up the ladder. Before doing that though, if you look to the right and go into the darkness, there will be a collectible down here. After you do some platforming, you will need to come past this way anyway, so hopefully you will pick up the note just before we leave. We are now nearing the end of the game. So as soon as we're outside with Lynn, look at the yellow sun, or the orange sky, and just record. Getting very near the end now, so when we get to the chapel area, make sure you record the lightning strikes. This is after a certain somebody dies. Not going to say it, but... Now let's go into the church, or the chapel. After the series of events happening, pull out your camera and then record the person that is no longer with us. We are now at the end of the game, so when we get near the end, make sure you record the well. This will be your final thing. If for some reason you haven't got the achievement, I'll probably recommend going into your journal tab and then proceed to go through every single journal that is flashing at you just to make sure you have looked at them. But since I already got the achievement back in 2017, I don't need to do that. But this is the end of Outlast. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.